Now we're getting better insight into why the judge decided not to give Sean Diddy Combs bail. Not only that, Karrine Steffans, aka Superhead, is speaking out among many other celebrities in regards to Diddy's recent arrest. And of course, now fans are digging up old interviews, including a Vanity Fair interview where Diddy changed his name to Love and talked about the importance of the Me Too movement. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. I know a lot of you are probably tired of all the Diddy news, but we will have a little bit of a break while Diddy sits in jail, a jail in Brooklyn, which he's officially been transported to. And according to records, Sean John Combs is there. So apparently he didn't really change his name to Love. We'll get back to the love of it all in just a second. Let me just give you an update in regards to the denial of his bail for the second time. So first of all, we did a video yesterday with our friend Stephanie St. Aubin, aka allegedly Stephanie, here on YouTube. So be sure to check out that video because she really breaks down the indictment, what we can expect, the very legal aspect of what we are dealing with here when it comes to this Sean Diddy Combs case. But no one was really surprised, including Stephanie, that he was denied bail for a second time. The first time he was denied by the magistrate judge. This time he was denied by the district judge, the judge that would be overseeing this case. So they write this. TMZ says that Diddy's fight to get out of jail has stopped in its tracks because after arriving at court today to appeal a judge's ruling, he shouldn't be released on bail. He headed back to the detention center. The rap mogul arrived at a federal courthouse in New York City Wednesday, where his sons, Christian and Justin, came out to support their dad, including Quincy was there as well, supporting his brothers. But the judge on the case decided not to grant bail. The U.S. District Judge, Andrew Carter, after hearing arguments from the lawyers, said that he was turning down the request because, quote, the government has proven the defendant is a danger. The bail package is insufficient even on risk of flight. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson mentioned that the freak-offs the parties Diddy would allegedly host, she claimed he filmed people having sex with male escorts partially to use as blackmail. Shout out to Inner City Press. They have been covering, and a lot of these stories they've been covering, but they're specifically covering this Diddy case. And one of the things that they noted in a tweet and what was said by Emily Johnson in court, at the very beginning, Emily Johnson says the freak-offs were elaborate. They began in 2009, and get this particular part, and extended into this year. So remember, Cassie her lawsuit is not even a year old. Come November is when it will be a year. So even after it was exposed, Sean Diddy Combs was still having these freak-offs parties. Remember, the home raids also discovered 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube, weapons, and things like that. So she says that they began in 2009 and extended into this year. These freak-offs were arranged with his entourage. The defendant used narcotics so that the victims would continue, and they include the different narcotics that were used. She then says the defendant would record these freak-offs, at least in part, to use them to blackmail. We have an email. A victim says, you are going to make me, I'm not going to say it on public record, or you are going to leak some FO, the freak-off-ish. She then says a different victim wrote, he said he was going to expose me with the S tape. I was drugged. That's just two examples. And so it's rich when the defendant's submission filed today accuses the victim of extorting. He's the only extorter. She then goes on to say that they seized different weaponry. They were in the defendant's home, and mind, they had scratched off the serial numbers, which Stephanie yesterday in our collaboration reminds you guys that that's a federal offense. We are focused on the defaced pows in the defendant's closet. This is not about security, but dangerousness. The security team is the same one he says would monitor him. So that was one of the things in Diddy's bail package where he says, you know, I won't allow any females to come to my home besides like my family members. and they would keep a log of everyone that's coming in, and they would share this log with the government. The head of his security has now been served with a subpoena, given what we've learned about his role in the offense conduct. Not sure if that means they're going to charge him unless he cooperates. Now about the hotel situation with Cassie. Yesterday, defense counsel called it a fight in a relationship, but it's trafficking. The defendant had freak-offs on March 5th, 2016. We have evidence there was commercial sex workers there in the room during the Cassie situation. The video footage that we saw, because one of the videos that we did yesterday, we told you that the defense, Diddy's attorneys, are trying to make it seem that Cassie hit Diddy in the head with a cell phone, that they had cheated on each other, that she had this sordid and years-long affair with her now husband. He tried to spin this like she's a cheater, she hit him first, she stole his clothes. That's why he was in the hallway of the hotel doing what he was doing to her in a towel. That was the defense's defense. So TMZ also got an update from his attorney outside the courtroom. This is their update. It said they caught up with Diddy's attorney and outside the courthouse after he made his comments, and he tells us Diddy's focus on his defense. He mentions how poor the conditions in the MDC Brooklyn are and says that he's working to get Diddy moved to another facility. Diddy's attorney is refusing to back down after losing out on their bail hearing, noting to reporters outside the courthouse that their, quote, fight continues. Per his attorney, he's hoping to get Diddy's case to trial sooner rather than later to, quote, minimize the amount of time he'll have to spend behind bars. He also called out the rapper's prison conditions as inhumane. Well, some might say some of Diddy's behavior towards his victims were inhumane. Though the lawyer said that Diddy is, quote, ready and focused ahead of trial. So that is the latest in regards to what we know why the judge decided to deny bail for Sean Diddy Combs. But of course, people are speaking out, and there have been quite a few people. As you know, Aubrey O'Day spoke out recently. Dawn Richard spoke out recently in her own 55-page lawsuit. We've covered that, so be sure to check that out. Kalena Harper from Diddy Dirty Money was mentioned recently during these bail hearings, where it was revealed that Diddy communicated with her since the Dawn Richard lawsuit over 128 times in a span of days. You may recall Karrine Steffans. Karrine Steffans wrote a book years ago talking about the dark side of hip-hop and being a video vixen. So she's now she's about to release an updated version of that book with new chapters. But she goes by a different name. Her new name is Elizabeth, or maybe her real name, Elizabeth Ovison. But she says this in a caption because a lot of people wanted to hear what she had to say, along with people want to hear what Wendy Williams has to say in regards to the Diddy of it all, because they said this is vindication for Wendy. She's been telling us for years. Diddy got her fired, allegedly, from her radio station, and that's when she went to Philly. But this is what Karrine says in a caption on her Instagram. She says, here's why I'm not saying anything. First, pre-order the 20th anniversary of Confessions with new chapters in my bio. It's a new book, a new version of the book is coming. Now it's not my story to tell. There are victims that deserve their space and time to tell their stories. I will not encroach. I've gotten calls from ABC News and Rolling Stone. I've made comments off the record refusing to be quoted. Here's the deal. I said everything I needed to say 20, 15, and 10 years ago, and you all called me a liar. You called me crazy, bipolar, a whore, and a bitter bitch. Now that everything I warned you about has come to pass, you want me to give you the tea? She says, well, no thank you. I've had enough of you people. I'm tired, exhausted. You've beaten me into a place of indifference. And this is what happens with a lot of people that are victims. I'm not saying she's a victim, but this is what happens with a lot of victims. They see what you do on social media to other people that come out, and they're like, I just can't. I can't deal with being traumatized a second time around by people I don't even know. She then continues, she says, I wrote the books, I sat for the interviews, I told you what you needed to know, and you abused me. There's even more to say about people you still revere, recent events, but I refuse. Let somebody else do it. Now I'm on vacation with my family while justice has its day, and I love to see it. Trust me when I tell you there's more to come. God promises are real. The meek shall indeed inherit the earth, and I'm preparing for my inheritance. Remember, I was not before my time. You were late to the revolution. Smarten up. One thing I will say, Karrine Steffans, a.k.a. Elizabeth, always had a way with words. Always had a way with words. And if you remember the era of Superhead, meaning when she came out with this book and exposed hip-hop, she really was one of the first to expose this underbelly. And she's right. I feel like there are a lot more people that are going to fall from grace in regards to this Diddy situation. But rewinding back to Diddy. So as you know, Diddy has changed his name in the indictment. They listed all the different names, including his most recent change of name to Love. So back in 2021, he did an interview with Vanity Fair. He was on the cover showing a tattoo that said Love. And I bring this up because it's interesting, because it feels as if Diddy was preparing for this moment, trying to change the narrative around who people will say he is, by changing his name multiple times, by changing his name to Love, naming his baby Love. And then you also know there was a period of time recently where he was giving back the publishing rights to his artists. For a very long time, Diddy has been called everything under the sun when it comes to how he treated his artists and how he was making money off of their music, and they were not making one red cent. So even Aubrey O'Day said she exposed what this deal would be if you did get your publishing rights back. And in some of those details, Aubrey said there was an NDA, meaning that you could not defame him, meaning that you could not defame his mother, which was interesting that they mentioned that in there.
Any claims or wrongdoings or actions prior to the date of the release, I have to sign an NDA that I will never disparage Puff, Bad Boy, Janice Combs, or Justin Combs' music, or EMI, or Sony ever in public.
So that you just got recently for this thing?
I got it a few months ago when he started doing this. So what's happening is artists, some of them, not all of them, are being given streaming royalties and ownership back over our publishing on songs that we wrote at a time when you know that you have to stream a song 1 million times to make a cent.
Yeah.
Okay? It's hundreds of dollars. And me, as somebody that's a girl's girl, I hit everyone in my group and said, absolutely do not take this deal. I can get us a show on Hulu right now and talking about boy bands and girl bands.
So it was very strategic, and it makes me wonder because, as you know, Diddy's attorney revealed that there was communication with Cassie before she decided to file her lawsuit. So it makes me wonder if he was doing all of that because he knew that this was coming. Maybe. Or maybe he knew something else was coming, that even beyond Cassie, other people were after him and to expose him. Well, in this interview with Vanity Fair, he talks a little bit about the Me Too movement and the name change. So Vanity Fair writes this: as private traumas brought Combs closer to God, the public traumas that defined the 2010s, police brutality, civil disobedience, and political retrenchment, forced him to take a hard look at his legacy. I am amazed when he brings up the Me Too movement before mentioning Black Lives Matter. He says, if you are living on this earth and you're trying to keep on dealing with this ish, that ain't the way we're going to live. And people out there that are tired of it, and there are people out there that are tired of it. And it's not just a black and white thing. You know what I'm saying? No. It's just tired of the way that it doesn't have to be. Like when they said it was over, when they said in the Me Too movement, when it was over, he says emphatically.
Hell no.
What is he saying? Combs sees the Me Too movement as a qualified sign of progress and evidence that celebrities can change the world. He says the Me Too movement, the truth is that it inspired me. It showed me that you can get maximum change. What Combs wants now is for that maximum change to come for his tribe. Enter the love era. So the writer writes this. He says, I rolled my eyes when I first heard about Combs' new name, Love. He announced it on social media statement in May and followed it up with a picture of the driver's license that lists Love as his legal middle name. Again, I'm wondering if that was fake, because literally now that he's been entered into the MCU Brooklyn prison system, his name comes up as Sean John Combs. All right. It is easy to be glib about the rebranding. On a lesser man, it sounds like a anthropomorphized live, laugh, love sign from a discount decor store. But this is Sean Combs we are talking about. He does not ask his people to bring us snacks. He asks them to set up a sexy situation. Which, again, this is a little telling. He doesn't say, "Oh, bring some snacks." He says to set up a sexy situation. Which, when you think about the freak offs of it all, it's like, ew. His instinct for elevating the mundane into an experience is part of his charm and his success. What does he have planned for the love era? Oh, just a little justice and a lot of black capitalism. For love, those are one and the same. He says, love is a mission, he says in all seriousness. Combs is on a mission to lead a 5-year takeover of something, perhaps of everything. The details are, shall we say, a little murky, but the passion is there. He says, I feel like that's one of the biggest missions that will actually shift things. But besides that, we, the world, is different. We have the internet, we have the power, we have a culture. I have us on a 5-year plan. That plan is for black people, although Combs is careful to say that he loves everyone. He says many times during our talk that love is about moving from me to we, and he has a very clear idea of who is included in that we. I don't think this will be the first or last time that we will be breaking down some of the hypocrisy of Sean Diddy Combs, but of course I had to mention it in this video along with everything else that is going on with Sean Diddy Combs. Guys, as always, don't forget, you don't just get Diddy updates here on the channel. We do a mix of all pop culture news. And of course, later today, we will be recapping the Real Housewives of Dubai and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City's episodes. So be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. As always, thanks for watching.
You bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make